There is something happening inside you right now that you did not choose, did not ask for, and probably do not even know about. It has been shaping your decisions, your fears, your reactions, and your sense of who you are since before you could speak. And the strangest part is, most people spend their entire lives inside it without ever once stopping to look at it.
Scientists call it the negativity bias. But that name does not do it justice. This is not a personality flaw. It is not weakness. It is one of the oldest, most deeply embedded survival programs the human brain has ever developed, and it is running in the background every single day of your life. To understand why this exists, you have to go back millions of years. Our early ancestors lived in a world where a single mistake could mean death. Missing a meal was a setback. Missing a predator was the end. So the brain learned something ruthless. Bad information must be processed faster, remembered longer, and weighted heavier than good information. That wiring worked then. But the world changed, the threats changed, and the brain never got the update.
So today, you walk around in a modern environment carrying ancient threat detection hardware. A critical comment hits harder than 10 compliments. One difficult morning feels like it defines the whole day. A single embarrassing memory resurfaces more easily than hundreds of good ones. That is not weakness. That is the system working exactly as designed for a world that no longer exists.
Researchers found that one bad event can require up to 5 positive events just to restore emotional balance. And when negative experiences are consistently louder and stickier than positive ones, the mind starts building a distorted map of reality. You begin expecting the worst before it happens. You rehearse failure before you even try. You replay painful conversations as if repetition might somehow change the outcome. Psychologists call this rumination, and it is one of the most exhausting things a human being can do. You are not thinking through a problem, you are cycling through it, over and over, burning mental energy without moving an inch. The brain thinks it is being helpful, scanning for danger, looking for the exit. But there is no exit in a loop.
Here is what makes it even harder to escape. Over time, the negativity stops being just a reaction and becomes part of your story. You start to believe the difficult things that happen to you are evidence of who you are. The rejection means you are not enough. The failure means you were never cut out for it. But a narrative is not a fact. Anthropologists have found that the same experience gets interpreted in completely different ways depending on the framework a person was handed before they were old enough to question it. You did not pick the lens, you were given it.
There is a moment researchers have documented across thousands of case studies where something shifts. A person stops experiencing their thoughts as reality and starts experiencing them as events. The thought arrives, but there is suddenly a small gap between the thought and the person observing it. That gap is everything, because in that gap lives the choice to respond rather than react. And neuroscientists have confirmed that this kind of awareness, practiced consistently, literally rewires how the brain processes information over time.
You were born into a particular brain with wiring shaped by millions of years of survival pressure. You did not choose it, but you are not your wiring. You are the one who can look at it, notice it, and question it. Across centuries of human philosophy, the single most consistent insight that emerged was this: the examined life is not just more meaningful, it is more free. Not free from pain, but free from mistaking the story for the self and the alarm for the emergency. That freedom was always inside you. It was just waiting for you to stop running long enough to find it.